like everybody's set up identical to what they had before. Just waiting on one more to ready up, and we'll be heading in. There we go. Yeah, you get on that, MD. You fix all that.
Don't worry,
bugs.
guys. I got this. In my spare time.
Master game developer programmer, MD. Also a rocket scientist.
Also.
All right, we're right back into it. Hopefully no issues this time. So, Gauss PPC, we already saw all those mechs already. So we're going over to take a look at... I hear music. That's a good sign.
Everyone looks to be good so far.
MWOWC coming out of the Kodiak 3s for Black Spikes. PPC Ultra AC5s for the Warhammers. And so we got ourselves a little bit of a break right strategy for Black Spikes. They are not heading across the way. 4 small pulse lasers and 2 ER PPCs coming out of this Hunchback 2CA. That seems to me like that'd be a little bit of a hot build, wouldn't you say?
I would think so.
6 small pulse lasers and 2 ER PPCs coming out of the other one. How the hell do you fit that much stuff in that mech?
You're not going to be using all those weapons in the same range, I would think.
Of course not. But that means what are you using that tonnage on? If
yeah,
I mean
you're bracket building.
You've got to be stripping
no.
heat sinks to be able to fit that in, or fitting a much smaller engine, of course, which is a possibility. But of course, smaller engines not just affect speed, but also affect turn speed and stuff like that, torso twist. But here we go. We got a little bit of a face-to-face. Eon Synergy setting up right at stage, and that Hunchback 2C coming right up over the top. Getting some shots in. Initial trades in favor of Black Spikes, but let's see whether or not they can keep this locked down.
See if they can catch this Warhammer out.
They are trying to get an angle on him. Looks like they have him a little bit segregated.
They've got him a little bit segregated, yeah.
But he's got the rest of his team coming up to back him up. That Warhammer actually has an escape, and he can back out the other side. So we've got a big DACA trade back and forth.
And the lights are down in Death Valley, actually, for both teams. We're trading a little bit there. And one quick kill, Warhammer down for Black Spikes. I didn't even see how he fell. Here comes Black Spikes pushing right up into the middle.
Hard charge coming in. They got the Kodiak and the Warhammer on the left side with the Hunchback, but that lead Kodiak goes down in a hail of fire. But they're going to have to keep putting...
get that Warhammer called out, but both Kodiaks now down.
One bad thing about this maneuver is those PPCs under 90 meters aren't going to make contact, and they're relying on just 2 Ultra AC5s in this kind of brawl push. 3 mechs remaining for Black Spikes, and they are getting completely shredded down by Eon Synergy. They just ran right into a firing line, and they paid for it big time.
The important thing there was Eon had mechs on both sides of Black Spikes. That Black Spikes couldn't push and roll into the entire Eon team. Every time they pushed and moved towards one group, they were taking fire in the back from the other.
That was very good positioning by those lights in the backfield, and of course they were the energy variants. They are small pulse, but Clan Small Pulse has a decent reach, at least being able to set up at the bottom of this hill right here, be able to still peek up and just get scratch damage. You can't just ignore those mechs for very long.
And I saw that little bit of team damage there. I think that was Hardock there. Hardock or Dungeon Keeper, I think one of the Hunchbacks, giving a little tickle to a friendly Jenner. But there you go. A very solid win for Eon Synergy. I honestly, that Warhammer right at the beginning by the ring, I thought he was in a bad position, but he actually had some teammates come up and support him, and Black Spikes pushed in that direction. Well, there were only 3 mechs there. The remainder of the mechs were shooting him in the back. Just good support by Eon for all their mechs there.
I think that the saving grace for that Warhammer, he didn't necessarily get out of position. He still has this escape right here to be able to break out to the right side. So yes, he was fighting right here, but he would have needed to have been getting pincered from somebody on the left, and it just wasn't happening. So he had an escape, and then he had the support of the rest of his team. I don't think that Warhammer really ever felt that much at risk. I think he did end up getting taken out, but it was only because the massive push by Black Spikes, but their only consolation was getting 2 kills. So 8-2 for drop 1 in favor of Eon Synergy, and so Black Spikes is going to be able to choose their side for the second drop. Taking a look at the damages here, 74 from that Jenner right off the bat, but held to extremely low damages for the most part. Well, on Eon Synergy, pretty much averaging at least 100 damage per mech above what Black Spikes was able to put out. So it was very solid effort there, and putting out a lot of pain from those Kodiaks especially. So
Looks like Black Spikes is choosing to mix up the drops. They're picking Team 1 for the next match.
Okay. All right. Well, so we're going to give them the opportunity to switch teams, switch mechs, prepare for drop 2. Should be relatively short. Stick around, of course, but let's go back and watch the replay of that charge. There wasn't much substance to that, but let's see if we can look and find anything really.
I think the key is going to be the positioning of Eon when they pushed.
Let's take a look. So this initial setup, one of the things that is blatantly obvious, obviously, is the lance selections for Black Spikes screams that they're not doing what a lot of people do when they go Alpha Lance, which is, of course, set up DACA and trade across, because nobody really ever sets up Alpha and then runs away, because they're going to get pelted by the opposite side Alpha. So Black Spike's clearly trying some sort of right roll, and I think Eon Synergy was completely prepared for it. They read it like a book, had this hard push around the right side. Not really any initial trades going on at the moment. They did get the jump on somebody a little bit and got some good early damage out, but I wonder how those small pulse PPC hunchbacks fared in that one, if they were running pretty hot or not. It certainly is a curious build for that Hunchback 2C. If they're planning on doing like DACA Brawl or something, I'm not sure why the PPCs were brought into play at all. It is a little bit of a bracket build, but at what cost? When you get up into this brawl, yeah, you've got small pulse, but you've got no heat sinks to support it, and you're only bringing 6 small pulse, so you're as good as a Jenner, basically, but without the mobility. Yeah, you can tie those PPCs in, but as soon as you start shooting them, you're right up at heat cap, and now you're no longer firing.
You're heat capped, and yeah, a strange choice to bring those mechs, but who knows? Maybe that wasn't exactly what they wanted to play, being on Team 2. We'll see what they want to do on Team 1 now.
Okay, I got your invite. Thank you. So yeah, here's that initial charge. They got them in that backfield, but now even still, as they push up, they're putting their backs to some mechs too. So yeah, they've got that little group up here, but they're getting shot in the back there. The lights are coming up back in the backfield here. So they're almost in like a little trinary of little groups of mechs able to hit from many angles. Black Spikes stabbing right up into the middle of that and just getting enveloped almost by their own design, that they just picked a straight up hold W, run right into the middle of them, instead of breaking for one side particularly or doubling back or anything like that. They just got in there and tried to get the job done. But fortunately for them, Eon just landing their shots very well, getting a lot of back cores in there and dropping mechs left and right in rapid succession. So definitely no doubt about that one, 8-2. But we're getting into the lobby for drop 2. Eon, of course, up 1-0 on the series. So the loser of this will move down to fight the winner of 9STS versus Lords, which will be match 6. The winner of this will move up to fight RJF in match 5, and of course we might be doing those out of order. I don't believe we'll be doing drop or match 5 today, but yeah, let's go ahead and take a look.
Both teams ready.
Any major changes to the decks? Looks like Timbers for BSMC, Kodiak, Jenner 2C, Hunchback 2C. Then on the other side, Kodiak. So they didn't bring Warhammers this time, basically.
Yeah, they got rid of the Warhammers, which, as you pointed out, when they brawl rush, those PPCs become useless.
I mean, maybe if they can shoot them at 91 meters, they might get some damage out. But, face to face, you're down to just the 2 UX. On the other side, Kodiak, Grasshopper, Timber, Jenner 2C, and Hunchback 2C. Let's do it. Drop 2 for match 3.
Black Spikes needing a win here to continue in the winners bracket. That being said, a loss here doesn't take them out of the regionals just yet. They just have to work their way back up through the losers bracket. This is double elimination.
All right, once again, it looks to me like I should say Eon Synergy setting up in the exact same spawns that Black Spikes took. It almost like kind of like a, okay, let me show you how it's done kind of situation.
Show you how to do it, yeah.
They don't have anybody set up Alpha Lance. Let's see what some of these builds are. Gauss PPC, Gauss PPC, Gauss PPC, Gauss PPC. A lot of long range for Black Spikes right now. Hunchback.
Taking a look at the decks here. Again, the Hunchbacks with the Small Pulse and ER larges, or ER PPCs for Black Spikes. Those Timberwolves are Gauss PPCs.
Eon Synergy setting up in a ranged group. They have moved up their mediums and lights to the hoop, but their big boys are sitting way in the back, and we're having an exchange of Gauss PPC fire from Alpha Lance all the way into the back. In terms of initial trades,
lights and mediums, though, being a little more aggressive up to the ring.
They are. I don't know if they've been discovered yet. More Merida up here, and the Hunchback might be able to get an angle on them, but I don't know if they're more worried about what's going on in the backfield.
I think he's about to see the incoming fire from them, so it won't be much of a secret for long if it is that case.
So initial trades going back and forth. Looks like percentages slightly in favor of Eon Synergy, but at these extreme ranges, each shot only doing a little bit of damage. These are definitely some extreme ranges.
Yeah, absolutely.
Buria in the Timber down to 90% after all these initial exchange. But I'm excited to see what these guys coming in the backfield are going to do. Red goes to
here comes
Festa.
the Hunchback Dungeon Keeper moving around to the side. The light mechs are getting a little bit of a harassing now on the two Hunchbacks for Black Spikes over at stage.
They got gate knocked down to 80% already with those small pulses. But they got to be careful. If those lights get caught out or make a bad move, bad overheat, they could get easily stripped down. But it looks like they're sending the heavies and a light back over to the left side to try and sweep those guys out. And smartly, Eon Synergy, not overstaying their welcome, have pulled out of the region. So they just forced Black Spikes into a maneuver and got away scot-free. Buria in that Timber now down to 76%. They're still trading back and forth. Some of those Eon mechs have taken some hits, but a brave move by the Jenner moving up to cap Theta, and that means it's going to be 3 caps to 0 in favor of Black Spikes. If they can slow down the trades enough, maybe they can try something on the caps.
They managed to get Theta before that Hunchback could get a shot back on him.
So he's actually going, it looks like, for a full cap if he can handle it. But that means
Eon finally picking up their first cap at Kappa. Eon, Jenner is hanging out back there.
It's going to be on Eon Synergy to make the move unless Black Spikes continues to trade, and if they trade poorly enough and get shredded down, at some point I think Eon is going to have to get aggressive, and if Black Spikes... Whoa, I'm in the rocks. If Black Spikes continues to hemorrhage armor, that push by Eon Synergy is going to be very straightforward.
Yeah, the damage is already looking one-sided here.
Absolutely.
Eon definitely in a better shape.
If Black Spikes... They gotta feel like they're failing the trades at this point.
And the Hunchback just went down. Skate Knock got caught out by these mechs. I think that might have been the Hunchback over here. Dungeon Keeper has been harassing from the side.
Wow.
And they are down a mech now.
Yep, there he is. He got him right through this hole right here.
And that is huge.
I think Black Spikes
already
needs
losing
to
the
slow
armor and
down.
now down on the mech. They need to slow way down here if they want to play this cap game.
I mean, if you can put out damage without receiving, that's great. But so far, Black Spikes have not been trading very well. Elysium, you can tell he's playing a lot tighter now. He's trying to put that damage out, but still taking some hits.
And now Eon's going to cap Theta basically uncontested because Black Spikes has pulled so far back.
That's going to put it right back on Black Spikes to make a move. They can't just sit with 2-cap, it's not far enough into the game to win on 2-cap.
No.
Elysium just trying very tight peaks here. Ooh. His PPC is coming right over his shoulder. He's breaking up the cadence a little bit. He's trying to not be predictable. And that seems to be working decent for him now after he's slowed it down a bit. But if they could get a gank on these lights, that would be huge. And it looks like they are going to try it. Slim Shady and Ripovsky. Sorry. They're moving up, but once again, those Jenners staying incredibly nimble.
And Eon is
bailed out.
Ready with some of their mechs here to just pound anything they see coming around the corner. This Timberwolf needs to be careful peeking here.
They're trying for another cap on Theta. You think he can get it off? The Red's coming to challenge him. Looks like he's going to get a lot of free hits in for it, too. Chasing him out. They're not going to let them do that again. Dungeon Keeper sneaking up on that left side. Legged Jenner on the field. Ripovsky is now behind the rock, but he's going to try and get up and do something to that Hunchback, but he's not going to be
Phoenix Fire just got taken down, and the Timberwolf was again trying to peek out a little too far.
This
Black
isn't looking
Spikes
good
just
for
doesn't
Black
have an
Spikes.
answer.
Yep, they don't have an answer to these trades, and map control definitely going in favor of Eon now that they've shifted up.
They have so much more armor on the field that they can afford to shift up into maybe what's a little less defensible of a position, because they know that if Black Spikes tries to push them out, they're just going to take them down one by one.
So Black Spikes needs a miracle if they're going to pull this one out and win this series, or at least survive the series. But
and I think at this point, their other Jenners should have been long gone, trying to cap some of these faraway points like Sigma, maybe Kappa, in order to try and get the cap advantage. But right now, they're all sticking together, and they're just clustered up to die.
Yep, here comes the shift. At this point, it's going to look very... I guess I'll be surprised if Black Spikes is able to pull off a kill, let alone a miracle here. They're just getting shredded down by this hard maneuver by Eon Synergy, and they are cleaning up. All those initial trades have just added up, and Black Spikes is going to go down 8-0. Well played, Eon, taking the series 2-0 with an impressive 8-0 win. A lot of their mechs in pretty good shape. They had some that were pretty hurt, but for the most part, just fantastic work. Timber, Phoenix Fire, 22 damage, 30 damage out of the Jenner, 41 out of that Hunchback. That's hard to see. Elysium in that Kodiak, he looked like he was set up really well and was trading really well, but he just was not getting that out of the rest of his team, unfortunately, and could not carry them to victory. But Eon Synergy across the board just looking fantastic, very professional, and they take it 2-0.
Very clean across the board on those trades.
So just updating my bracket now. Let's go take a look at what the bracket looks like after the conclusion of that one. Eon Synergy going up to match 5 will be playing against Russian CJF. But Black Spikes dropping into the losers bracket will play the winner of 9STS versus Lords. And we're going to have that match coming up here in a little bit. That's what we're going to be excited to watch. This is going to be the first elimination round of the finals. In fact, of any of the regions, this will be the first elimination round of the regional finals. 9STS versus Lords. We'll have to watch and see what happens. But that match, very just... I honestly, I definitely could not have come up with an answer against Eon. Those guys were landing their shots left and right. They were punishing anybody who made any mistake. And then one of the other things that I found incredibly impressive was anytime they tried to answer the light mechs that were harassing, they got out of there instantly. Like they knew it was coming, they felt it was coming, they got out of there, and that was perfect light play by Eon Synergy. Could not have gone better for them. So it's just very, very solid. So we're going to head back to the bracket. We're going to put some music on. We're going to try and get this next one ready to go for you guys. And hopefully you're enjoying the show. We'll see you guys in a bit.